The phone slid across the study table on its own. That was how Iris Hallberg would always remember the start of it, pushed by the boy's own hand, screen down, until it stopped against the edge of her green leather mat. Tobias Vasari was 14 years old and had never given her a thing he did not have to. "You read it," he said. "I can't." Iris looked at him. The boy's mouth was set hard, the way his uncle set his when he was holding something in. The boy's eyes were not hard at all. They were a child's eyes. They had been bright with humor an hour ago, when they were arguing about whether Caesar had ever truly loved the Republic. Now they had the wet sheen of a kid who had carried something alone too long and could not carry it one more minute. "Tobias," she said quietly, "tell me what it is first." "It's a person on Scribble," he said. "They've been writing to me for 9 weeks. She did not pick up the phone. She closed the Latin reader between them. She looked once at the doorway to make sure no one in the great house was passing. At 4:30 on a Wednesday no one was, and put her hand on the green leather mat next to the phone, palm down, the way she used to put her hand on the desks of frightened second graders. "9 weeks is a long time," she said. "I'm going to ask you a hard question now, and I want you to answer me. Did you tell anyone?" "No." "Your uncle?" "No." "Mr. Karachi, the boy's bodyguard, who walked him from car to door?" "No." "Your mother?" The boy did not answer that one. His mother had been gone 3 years. He looked down at the green leather mat. Iris took the phone. She turned it over and let the lock screen wake. Tobias put his thumb on the sensor without her asking. The app opened on a chat thread, and the chat thread was very long. She read 3 messages, then 4, then 6. Then she stopped, because what was in the phone was not a stranger and was not a friend either. What was in the phone was a person who had been working very patiently for 9 weeks to make a frightened, lonely 14-year-old boy do one specific thing on a Friday night. Iris Hallberg had taught Year 8 Latin in a stone building behind a chain-link fence for 11 years before she came to the Vasari house. She knew what grooming looked like. She had reported it twice. She had recognized once, from across a parent-teacher night, the exact careful "please do not make this be what it is" look on a girl's face, because the look was on Tobias Vasari's face right now. The messages were not sexual. They were worse, in their quiet way. Calm, warm, unfailingly interested in the boy. They asked about his day. They remembered the small things he had said about being lonely. They asked, very gently, after his father dead 10 years, and after his uncle. They never pressed. They listened. And then, 3 weeks in, they had begun to suggest he might one day like to do a brave thing. The brave thing by message 80 had become specific. There was a friend, the writer said, who wanted to meet Tobias's uncle without anyone knowing. It would clear up a misunderstanding between the families. Tobias would arrange it. Tobias would save the day. He had only to slip out one night and bring his uncle to a particular corner at a particular hour. The writer would handle the rest. The Friday in question was the day after tomorrow. Iris had not moved her hand off the mat. She set the phone down between them, screen up. She breathed out once, the way she breathed out before she stood in front of a class she had lost. "Tobias," she said, "look at me." He looked at her. "This is not your fault," she said. "Not one word of it. You hear me?" They said. I heard what they said. They are lying. People who want to hurt the people we love are very, very good at sounding like the people who love us. That is the trick. You did the only right thing. You brought it here. You put it in front of an adult. That is what a brave person does. That is what your father would have done. He did not cry. His mouth shook for one moment and then it set again, the Vasari set. He nodded. "Now," she said, "I am going to do something, and I want you to trust me. I am going to ask you to sit at this table with your reader open, and I am going to leave the room for 10 minutes. I am going to bring your uncle in. We are going to tell him together. He will not be angry with you. I will not let him be. Number Kem." He'll be angry at me for not telling him. No, he won't. Iris stood up. She closed the chat thread and put the phone face down on the table. This time, on her side. She walked out of the study tutor room. 3 years to the day she had walked into it for the first time, crossed the upper hallway in her low brown shoes, went down the back stair, and at the door of the River House Library she stopped, raised her hand, and knocked twice. She had not gone to him directly in 3 years. She had been hired by his housekeeper, reported to his housekeeper, passed him in halls and stood for him at family suppers. He had never raised his voice to her, and had never spoken her name above a quiet word. The whole house spoke about him in a way that made strangers go careful. She had been careful too. She had taught his nephew Latin and history, and how to fold a napkin around a candle so it would not snuff. Today she put her knuckles against his door. Come. She went in. Aurelio Vasari was at the chess set by the window, tall, late 40s, dark hair graying at the temples, in shirt sleeves, the cuffs turned up twice. The river light was on his face. He moved a bishop. Then he looked up, and seeing her Iris, the tutor, in his library. At 4:30 on a Wednesday, he set the bishop down and stood. He did not ask. Mr. Vasari, she said, I need 10 minutes of your time in Tobias's study room. I need you to come now, and I need you to come alone. He did not ask why. He picked his jacket off the back of the chair. He walked past her and held the door for her, and they crossed the back hall and went up the back stair and across the upper hallway. And at the door of the study room he paused once and let her enter first. Tobias was where she had left him. His Latin reader was open. His hand was beside the green leather mat. The phone was face down. Uncle, the boy said, and stood. Sit, Aurelio said quietly. Whatever it is. Tobias sat. Aurelio sat. Iris stayed standing, behind Tobias's chair, with one hand on the back of it because that was where a teacher stood, and because the boy needed to feel her there. She told him. She did it the way she had taught second graders to do hard things, in order, in plain words, without dressing. A stranger on a children's drawing site had written to Tobias for 9 weeks. The messages had begun warm and had ended with a request that Tobias bring his uncle to a particular corner alone on Friday night. Today, he had set the phone on the tutor table and asked her to read it. She believed it was a setup of his uncle, and possibly of Tobias. She had not called the bodyguard. She had not called anyone else in the house. She had come straight to him. She did not name the rival family. She did not have to. Aurelio Vasari listened with his hands folded on the table, and the room got the quiet around him that the whole house got around him when he was thinking. And when she was done, he did one thing first. He did not pick up the phone. He laid his right hand over his nephew's left hand on the green leather mat, the way one might lay a coat over a cold shoulder. Tobias, he said, thank you for telling me. I didn't tell you, the boy said. His voice cracked. I told her. You told the right adult, Aurelio said. That is the same as telling me. You did exactly what your father would have done. You hear me? The boy nodded. His face was very young suddenly. Go to the kitchen, Aurelio said. Ask Annetta for the bread and the apricot jam and a glass of milk. Eat. Stay there until I send for you. Annetta will sit with you. You are not in trouble. You are not in any trouble at all. Tobias went. He did not look back. The door clicked shut behind him. Aurelio Vasari sat in the quiet his nephew had left. Then he turned his face up to Iris and looked at her, really looked, for the first time in 3 years. Miss Halberg, he said, sit down. She sat in the boy's chair, across from him. How long? He said. Have you suspected something? Today, she said. Not before today. I would have come to you the same day if I had. Why did he show you? She thought about that one. She turned her hands once on the green leather. Because I have asked him every Wednesday at 4 o'clock for 3 years, she said, whether anything in his life was hurting him, and whether he wanted me to help. I never pressed. I never told anyone. He hesitated. Today he heard the question, and he had run out of room. Aurelio Vasari was quiet a long time. 3 years, he said. Yes, My Thinkivid. Every Wednesday. Yes. My Thinkivid. He took the phone, opened the chat thread, and began to read. He did not skim. The river light moved across the window. Iris sat with her hands folded and watched. Not the phone, but his face. The face did not change. The hands did, once. The thumb went very still on the screen at message 31. He read for 9 more minutes after that. Then he closed the app and laid the phone face down on the green leather mat, exactly where she had laid it. You are right, he said. It is what you think it is. I am sorry. For what? That it came into your house through a boy. It did not come in through the boy, Aurelio said. It came in through whatever crack the boy was carrying alone. You closed the crack. He brought it to you, and you brought it to me. And on the road between you and me, no one else heard it. That is the only thing on the table right now I am grateful for. He was very quiet a moment. Friday will not happen, he said. It will be handled tonight, and it will not be handled in the way you might fear. I do not need you to know more than that. I do not want to know more than that. I know. That is why you are sitting in this chair. He looked at her. Tobias is to keep his routines exactly. He goes to school. He goes to fencing. He comes home. He sits with you at 4. The phone will be replaced tomorrow morning. He will be told it was lost. He will not be told otherwise. He is 14 and he is a child, and he is to remain one for as long as I can give him that. Yes, you will continue as his tutor. You will be paid a year forward today, and that money is yours. Whether anything ever happens between this house and the people who wrote those messages, and whether you wish to leave this house tomorrow or stay another 20 years, I do not want you to feel held by anything but the boy. I am held by the boy, Iris said. I know that too. That is why I am asking what I am going to ask next. He folded his hands. Stay through the summer. Take supper with us on Sundays. Sit next to him. He needs a second adult he is allowed to talk to about ordinary things. He has Annetta, and he has me. And Annetta is in the kitchen, and I am in this room, and a boy needs an adult whose only job is to look at him at 4 o'clock on a Wednesday and ask him a question. You have been that adult for 3 years without my noticing? I am noticing now. I will stay through the summer, she said. Through next summer, he said. All right. Through next summer, he nodded once. There is one other thing, he said. And his voice was different on the one other thing, quieter, older, the way a man speaks who has been a long way from being thanked. I have not always understood how to be the man in a 14-year-old's life. I lost my brother when Tobias was 4. He remembers his father the way a child remembers a song hummed in a room he has left. My best has been study doors that close at 5, and people called Mr. Karachi. It has not always been a hand on a 14-year-old's shoulder. You did the thing I did not know how to do this afternoon. You sat across from him at 4 o'clock for 3 years and waited him out. You did not bill me for it. You did it because that is who you are. He took a folded sheet from inside the chess set and laid it on the table. It was a deed. This is the small cottage on the lake behind the house. It is in your name as of an hour from now. It is not for staying in. It is for being yours. You will go up there on Saturdays when the boy is at fencing, and you will close the door and sit on a porch with no one in this family in it, and you will know when you come back down on Monday that you did not come back because you had nowhere else to go. Mr. Vasari, Aurelio, in this room only, please. From now on. She looked at him a long moment. The river light was on his cuffs. His hands were very still. He was not a young man and he was not a soft man, and a softness had come on him in the way that softness comes on hard men late and slowly and only for one person at a time. Aurelio, she said. Thank you. No, he said. Thank you. He stood. He went to the door and opened it for her, the way he had opened the library door an hour before. In the hallway, as she passed, he said quietly, behind her, Wednesday at 4 next week. Do not change anything. I won't. She walked back along the upper hallway, and as she went, she heard him pick up the house phone and ask in a level voice for someone to come up to the river house at once. It was the voice the whole house went quiet around. It was not raised. It was not cruel. It was going to make Friday not happen, in a way she would never need to know about, in a way that would not put a 14-year-old at any corner, at any hour at all. She came to the back stair. Annetta met her at the bottom of it with a piece of bread and apricot jam wrapped in a napkin, because Annetta missed nothing in this house, and pressed it into her hand without a word. In the kitchen, Tobias was eating bread at the long table, and when he saw her in the doorway, he stopped chewing and looked at her with a 14-year-old's whole heart, and Iris Hallberg, who had been a public school teacher for 11 years and a Vasari tutor for 3, walked the length of the kitchen and sat down beside him and did not say anything at all. She put her hand on the back of his chair, the way she had stood behind it upstairs. Outside the kitchen window, the river moved past the house the way it had moved for 100 years. Down the hall, in the River House library, a door closed, and a man who had been alone for a long time stood at his window and watched the water and did the quiet work of keeping a child for 1 more year. It is the cook, Annetta, who told it that way much later, when Tobias was grown and a father himself, the bread, the jam, the long table, the boy who had brought a phone across a green leather mat to the only adult in the great house who had asked him every week for 3 years whether anything was hurting him. The phone, Annetta would say, never came back, but the woman did. Every Wednesday at 4, for a great many Wednesdays after that. And the boy grew up,